streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy is suspected of having killed as many as 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series that investigates the crime that shocked the nation.
The thing everybody thought they knew wasn't the whole story.
John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. All episodes streaming now. Only on Peacock.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, this is Jennie Walker, and welcome to Closet Conversations. Today I want to talk to you about something I am grappling with. I have just become the 100% owner of Walker Viden Luxury Consignment in Pasadena, California. My business partner has left the business. He's now getting ready for retirement, and it's all mine. We had to make a decision when we were parting ways what we're going to do with the baby, you know, the baby, the store. And so I have adopted my child. I am taking over, and it is probably one of the heaviest things I have done in my career, the weight and responsibility of a store, managing it, thinking about the future coming out of COVID-19, you know, grappling with how to do all that. And there's no business partner to bounce things off, or at least that I have to bounce things off of. I'm there to make all the decisions. And so it's an interesting time for me because this is a business I've had for 4.5 years. I had a business partner from the beginning. We've been through every bit of the growing pains of growing a business for 4.5 years, actually more than that, probably about 5 years when you consider all of the time that we spent before we actually opened up the store, researching the consignment shops in the LA area, looking at properties to rent, getting incorporated, well, getting our LLC together, actually, all of the business and the permitting and everything we had to do with the city because just everything, signage, hangers, finding consigners, advertising, like we have been through a lot. And we didn't always see eye to eye on everything, but more often than not, we made it work and built a business that we're very proud of, that has been award-winning and recognized by readers in Pasadena weekly for best consignment shop. Well, actually, we were best new. I can't even talk about it. We were best new business in Pasadena in 2017, and reader recommended for best vintage/resale shop 2017, 2018, and 2019. So that's a lot. We've put a lot into the store, and now I'm in the driver's seat and have to figure out what's next. What is next? You know, our business was shut down during COVID. We're suffering, like so many small businesses, from the effects of the COVID shutdown and people not buying. And we are, when I say we, there's no we anymore. It's just me. Oh, goodness. I am busy digging out of COVID with finding grants and loans and creative ways to get money in while things turn around, and they have definitely turned around lately. And there's definitely a sea change in the type and volume of selling that's taking place not only online but in the store. But it's no joke. I mean, this is a down period for the store, and now I'm here to lead it out of its dark place into the light, into the sunshine, and figure out how to do that. And how am I going to do that? And I have my other reselling business, JennieGirl's Closet, and it's super exciting and it's super anxiety-inducing all at the same time. It's an opportunity to prove myself and do things in a different way, or really analyze all this for us and things that didn't in the years we've been in business, and really just move it forward. And it's a lot of responsibility. I have to find people to work with me. I have to figure out how I'm going to replace the pieces of work my business partner was responsible for. I have to figure out where I'm headed, and am I going to have two businesses? Am I going to merge them, or is one going to acquire the other? Am I just going to keep doing what I do and not make any changes, or am I going to make change? And if so, what do those changes look like? So it's a lot to think about as a small business, and certainly taking over in this moment with things where they are with everything going on in the world. It's a really, really interesting time, but it's also an opportunity for myself to prove myself to myself, mostly to my business, to see what it's going to take to turn it around and get it back to where it was. And then not just get it back to where it was, is where am I headed? Where am I going? Is it enough for me just to have one store in Pasadena? And I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure that the only way I'm going to get through this is to think so big that it scares me, right? To come up with a plan that's so large and a concept that's so broad and the target is so outlandish that if I aim for it, that will be a way to expand the way I think about what I do in a very different way, because there's a smallness to a small business, right? And small business by most standards is, we know because of the government, that small business can be making millions and millions of dollars and have hundreds and thousands of employees and be considered a small business. But I'm talking about the micro business. I'm talking about 1 and 2 people functioning, operating a store or a business, mom and pops. The whole reason they called them that was a husband and a wife got together and they had, whether it's a bakery or a flower shop or whatever it was family run and family owned. And the true small businesses are these really small entities like my own. So the question is, where do I want to take it? What do I want to do? And I'm pretty sure it's not enough just to put it back to where it was. That's not the ultimate challenge that I need, I think, in order to get it to where it needs to be. It's going to have to completely rethink everything, rethink the branding, rethink what I stand for, rethink how I function, the business model. And one of the things about the consignment business model is there's flaws in that model. And one of the things I was speaking to someone about that was in my store, and, I am hampered and I am limited by what people bring me, right? So in a consignment model, you take in other people's clothing, you sort through it, you pick out what you think you can sell, and you get the rest back based on the amount of inventory you can take in at the time, what you can process, what's selling, perhaps the climate. If you have, too many long dresses, maybe you won't take in more, but there's an unevenness to the inventory. And it's one of the things that I struggle with, because in a regular retail environment, the buyers, they buy quantities. They buy a certain number of pants, certain number of blouses, certain number of sweaters, certain number of jackets, etc., and build out a collection. We don't have the luxury of doing that in a consignment shop. So if I'm limited by what people bring me, I will never truly have the ability to curate and offer clothes in the way that I want. So and I think that's very limiting for me. And in the resale model, I have control. I can go out, I can source, I can pick what I want, and I can bring it in. So when I think about the two aspects, I almost feel like, well, I need to open that up. I need to open up my consignment model to a place where I can pick and choose and make sure I have enough sizes, I have enough blouses, I have enough of things in there. So it's balanced, a balanced perspective and a balanced presentation. If you need a jacket or a coat, I'm your girl, right? I got them all over the place there. I'm bursting at the seams with jackets, blazers, coats, puffers. But I have a shortage of skirts, a shortage of blouses, a shortage of regular pants. And, I'm also limited by what size comes in. So if someone's a size 2 and they bring me 6 pair of jeans, I got 6 pairs of 2 jeans. So the person who's a size 14 can't buy any of it. Now, I do know a regular retail because I have worked at Bloomingdale's, and I do know that the size is always an issue for everyone. You never have anyone's size. I worked in the dress department. No matter what size they needed, just didn't have it. And you didn't have it because it sold or it had been taken out on approval for the TV and film industry, where they take multiples and they literally half the inventory is like out of there most of the time because of the industry. So you never really had people's sizes. And someone who's a size 2 doesn't want to try on a size 14 dress and imagine how it feels, or vice versa, and try to order their size. It just isn't going to happen. So I think about that. I think about how consignment is that beauty of one of a kind. But then how do you present it? How do you pick and choose what's in there. And what I do know is what sells for me sells for everyone else. So every consignment shop is looking for Chanel. Everyone's looking for Hermès. Everyone's looking for Louis Vuitton. So that's a no-brainer. We all want the Gucci. We all want the Fendi, right? If I limit myself to those 5 brands, I don't think I'd have enough to sell because there isn't enough of it at this juncture with my store to sustain it. I don't have enough people yet bringing me those particular brands to know that it can sustain itself. So I have to look at these other things. So what am I going to bring in? I know what sells because of almost 5 years in the business. I can tell you exactly what's going to sell, and what sells for me sells for everyone else. So it's a really interesting dynamic. It's how do I scale? Like first is how do I get to where I was before the pandemic? How do I kind of reset my business to a certain threshold? And then how do I take it to this next level? And then what does that next level look like? And how big of a picture? So this is where I am. And, you know, all of the reselling that I do won't be stopped because I'm now running 2 businesses. It'll still be going on. As a matter of fact, a lot of analytics will go on to figure out the best places online. As a matter of fact, I just canceled my Etsy account with the consignment shop because, one, we'd had no action on it at all. And then yesterday, I mean, you're talking maybe 20 listings on there. And then we sold a dress on there that I had just sold in the store like 3 days earlier. And I actually think what I think happened is that person who bought it put it on Instagram and they were showcasing it at the Pickwick Vintage show. So what I think happened is someone saw it and then tried to find the same dress, and then they found it on Etsy. So we hadn't had a chance to take it down because these things are not. This isn't an accident that they had looked for the dress. So I had to cancel the order, and it was costing me $25 for the order. So those were the fees, and so I canceled the order. I'm going to pay my $25 fee, and I closed my account, and they asked me why. I said, because you're charging me $25. So I shut it down because that's just not our platform. We don't have enough vintage to make Etsy work for us, so we're not doing it. We're doing great on eBay, great on Vestiaire Collective, great on Tradesy, Lapri, these other sites. But I got rid of Etsy, so that was a big decision that I made this week. And I'm the all-powerful czar of Walker Viden. But yeah, I mean, where am I going? Where am I headed? How am I going to get there? How much can I do for myself, and where do I need help? I mean, I spent my Sunday in there today. I'd gone to IKEA with a friend of mine. She's looking for linens, and I'm looking for things to upgrade in the store to kind of clean up. So today I bought $129 worth of supplies, which included those beautiful, the IKEA bags that they normally sell. They actually come in rainbow color right now. So I bought a bunch of rainbow bags to use where people bring me a lot of shoes and handbags, so I can put them in these colorful bags as a place to store the inventory before it's I bought plastic shoe boxes, which I had never done. I had been meaning to do it forever. And so today I only bought 10. Thinking I'd get 2 pairs of shoes in each one, which I did. Some I got 3 in. But where I have the shoes that have been consigned, where they don't have a box, they have to be stored. And before this, I'd done the Maria Kondo method, which is just reuse an old box. Well, I couldn't find anything. They're all different sizes. It's very confusing. And so I dumped probably 40 boxes or more today. Getting rid of that, putting all the new shoes in the new plastic, 1, 2, or 3 per box, labeling each one outside and putting that on the shelf to get organized. So part of like, how do I get a handle of it? If I'm going to scale my business, I have to get my one business functioning properly. I have to get the one business as efficient as possible. I have to get the one business online and using technology. I'll give you an example. So if you want to have a consignment contract with the store, I print it out on Word. You read it, you sign it, you print all the information by hand, you give it back to me, I sign it, then I look at it, and then I make a copy at the copy machine, and then I hand you a physical copy. It's ridiculous. I can't scale like that. So part of what I've got to do is find a system to automate everything I'm doing. Find a way to automate with technology, a way that you can go to an iPad and like just punch in and enter your data, you know. I need a scheduling system, and they're out there because it's a matter of updating the website and things like that and adding the module. But I need to start adding where people can book their consignment appointments online. Right now they call me and I manually write it down and I put them in the book, and it's all of that. So I've got to automate that because right now it's just me. It's one person running a store right now. And so to me, trying to figure out how do I scale, how do I automate, how do I get as efficient as humanly possible, because if I don't do that, I can't grow the business. I can't grow the business and manually do things. It reminds me of my first retail job that I had at Lord & Taylor many years ago. It was a part-time job. I was just out of college, and it was so long ago, we wrote the sales in a sales book by hand, right, and calculated the tax with a calculator. I mean, this is the old days. So I feel like what I'm doing is archaic, right? So if we can send someone to Mars, I think I can automate my processes in the store. So this is where I am. I'm cleaning up. I'm gradually, taking care of things that I've put off. I'm pitching things in the back that don't need to be there. I found an old coffee maker and 2 old printers up on a shelf, and it's all going. It's all leaving the store, making room for the new, making room to get organized. I want to build in the back. I always package all of the online sales in the front, on the front desk, where anyone can see me when they walk in the store, and I realize that's not a good look. So what I'm going to do now is create a section in my back office, which has a lot of racks in it, so I have to deal with that, where all of the packages are processed in the back. And so that means I'll have to process it when there's no customers in the store, like before we open or after we close, and make sure that it can't be seen, right? Because that's a little subtle thing that I think detracts from the store. So that's something I'll have to set up. Making sure I have the right supplies, making sure, everything that the brand is kind of represents who I am and where I want to be and where I'm headed. That I cannot answer today. I can't even answer it tomorrow. A lot of thought has to be put into it. I'm talking to a lot of people, but it's a lot of responsibility, and it's mine. It's all mine. And thank goodness so much work has been put into this store so far that we have a loyal client base, but it's not enough to bring us back to where we were. We have to find new people, new consigners, and figure out a way to all of this back to where it was, and then kind of move and scale it from there. Technology is the only way I can figure to do it, and finding the right people to work with me who have a passion for whatever this is. So if you happen to be in the LA area or in Pasadena and you want to get involved, let me know, because I'm talking to people now about getting involved with what I'm doing there. I'm mentioning it now because, hey, why not? Why not? Because that means you're interested in what I do. So that's kind of where I am, and it's a really interesting place to be because I still have my reselling business. So I now own 2 businesses, Walker Viden Luxury Consignment and JennieGirl's Closet, and I'm going to have to figure out where I go from here. So it's pretty exciting, but it's a lot, and it's a lot to figure out, and I will figure it out, and hopefully it will be. Hopefully it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So, yeah. So I think the hardest part is really I'm used to having someone in there with me, and I'm used to having someone that's involved in the thought piece of everything that goes on in the business. So one, it's a physical change of another person not being there. And 2, it's a mental change of knowing that all those decisions reside with me. And so it's empowering and it's exciting. It's a real thing. It's a real change. And I have to figure out how I'm going to deal with it. So my Sunday, this is interesting. So instead of just enjoying myself and relaxing on my Sunday and doing whatever I wanted to do, I went into my business, which is closed on Sundays. And that's another question. I have to change the hours. So I'm going to bring my business back from the brink. I can't have my leisurely hours I've had. So that was it. So there was nowhere else I really wanted to be. Went to IKEA with my friend. I came back. I brought what I had bought, a number of things, put them into the store, and I just stayed in the store for hours, upgrading, changing out the boxes. I bought one of those brand new trash cans where you put your foot on it so the lid will open, so I could have that in the restroom. So for hygienic reasons with COVID and all of that I now have one of those things in there that's so much better. And I'm throwing out things like in the break room area and dumping all the old, packets of things. So, that was how I spent my Sunday. I'm like, well, what's the best use of my time? The best use of my time is to be in my store, organizing my store where no one's there. And so this really changes a lot for me, how I spend my time, how I'm going to figure out what to work on, what are my priorities, what comes first. And I'm one of those people who, like, whenever I had a job, if my desk was messy, I couldn't focus until I cleaned up my whole desk, got everything organized, and I'm like, okay, these are the 4 things I need to work on. And that's kind of the approach with the store, is that I feel like before I can move forward, I have to get everything organized. I have to, like, clean up all the mess. I have to take out all the stuff that isn't serving any purpose. I'm going to sell a few odd fixtures on, Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace just to get them out of there. And if I don't sell them, I will just give them away for free just to move it out. And sort of like, okay, before I can get going, I've got to get organized with everything clean. And then my mind is clean. It's like, okay, what's next? What are the priorities? How am I going to automate? What am I going to do about the online? How am I going to get someone in here to work with me? Am I going to keep doing the same thing I'm doing? What's broken? What isn't broken? Where can I improve? Where should I not improve? And to start talking to people. So I'm starting to have conversations with a lot of people who are successful small business owners, some people that are in this industry and some who aren't. I'm talking to friends in other countries and getting perspectives from them on what it takes. And one person said to me, it was very profound, and she said, if you can take the emotion out, I can help you. To me was super profound because it is truly, truly emotional. It's like I've been married, which I haven't been, but having a close business partner that was a man, it's like we've been married for 5 years. And so it's like you're getting a divorce, and suddenly the store is my child, and I have to take over to make it work. And there is tons of emotion around it. And so for her to say to me, you've got to get the emotion out. You've got to get me the numbers. Let's talk about, how to scale. Help me to understand your business. She says, I can help you have a profitable business. That was really important for me to hear, because people that are too close to me aren't going to talk to me like that. Someone who's a little further away from me, who can be more objective, that's some really good information. So that's where I am, seeking advice, seeking counsel. I'm terrible about taking advice, but lately I've been a lot more open to hearing what other people have to say, because I finally come to the point that the more advice I take from other people who are in a position to give good advice, the better it is for me. I'm actually been taking actual advice, and it's actually working. Like, how like when your parents give you advice and you kind of listen with one ear, and that you find out later that everything they said to you was like true and accurate, but you didn't do it anyway because you thought in your own mind that you had it sorted and that you had it all figured out, even though you're 20 years old or whatever you are. And it's like that. I mean, my whole life I have always felt like, I love hearing people's perspective, but I really feel like I have a handle on it. But this time I'm like, I don't have a handle on it. I know I don't, and there is a lot at stake. And I'm going to make sure my child is going to get back to a healthy place and grow. And so I am definitely listening to people in a way I never have before, and just being like, this is what it is. I don't really know how to do this, but I'm going to figure it out. So I'll figure it out faster with the right advice, and I will do better quicker listening to people who know more than I do. And I have, with great humility, put myself at the feet of people who are offering advice to me and saying yes to it. And that's the key, saying yes. So that's where I am. I don't know what's next, but I do know I hope you'll be there with me for it, and I will share with you kind of my journey. And, you know, I'm still selling on Poshmark, still selling on eBay, still trying to figure out all of this business. And it's such an exciting business. And when I sit back and I think about the people that are being innovators right now in the world, people like Elon Musk, who's, you know, creating electric cars and who's changing the way we do everything, that is the future. And when I think about people like Jeff Bezos, what he's done with Amazon and the way he has scaled, and when I think about, I don't know, Branson and everything that he's done, these type of people are rare. And it's actually kind of a privilege that I think I have to watch someone like Elon Musk grow up in society and in the world and present. It's like industries that, like the old train industry and automotive industries and things that we didn't see, that kind of we grew up in, and we weren't there to see the people who began it, but to be able to watch this is incredible. And I asked myself, you know, where in the consignment and resale world can I make an impact like that? Because it's not enough to run the store. It's just not. It's not enough. And there has to be more. There has to be a way to take everything that I do and everything that I've learned about reselling, the same sustainability aspect and consignment, and turn it in a way that can have such a much bigger impact. Because I love impacting the local community, but it's not enough. Not enough. So how can I be like Elon Musk? I mean, how can I take what I know and scale it? How can I do that? And I don't know the answer, but the first thing I have to do is take what I do and make it tight, efficient, using technology, automated as much as possible. I know that has to happen. What comes after that, I don't know. Is that a big warehouse? Is that another location? I mean, how do you scale? Scaling is always acquiring new inventory, and always acquiring new inventory is everyone's issue. But then you have the issue of, I got too much inventory that isn't good enough. People like ThreadUp, when they changed their rules this past year because they had too many resellers and too many people sending them too much crap. And they're just like, no, you want to send us stuff, you're going to have to pay to get it back. So, like, that's an example where their model works to a point, but the fact that they had to change their rules because so many resellers were sending them things shows you that how much is out there, how much volume, and how much people are in a position to be with things that can be turned and sold in the marketplace. And so somewhere between the Real model, the Poshmark model, the ThreadUp model, somewhere in all of that has got to be a way for me to make a bigger impact with what I'm doing. And so it's fun to talk about. It's fun it's great to have a podcast, and it's great to kind of think about things and discuss things. But I actually want to have a material impact on the world in the sense of what I'm doing, and try to figure out how I scale it. Because think about it, there is an army of resellers all around the world, and we're all trying to get connected, and we do that certainly on Poshmark beautifully. They've done the best job I've ever seen of building a community. But how do we connect ourselves, and how do we become a force to help the planet breathe again because of all this stuff that's out there? And how do we let reselling and repurposing and being sustainable become as normal as an electric car? And these are things I struggle with. These are things I think about, and I have a lot more thinking to do. It's early days, as they say in England. It's early days. But, yeah, that's where I am. It is a heavier podcast than most. It's not meant to be. It's kind of the stream of consciousness of I'm sitting here on a Sunday night hanging out after having bought my things in IKEA and spent time in my store, and just realizing that this is a very interesting time for me. It's a time of change. It's a time of opportunity. It's just an opportunity to make a difference. So that's what I'm up to. You know how to get in touch with me on Instagram at JennieGirl Closet. If you like this kind of thought piece, let me know. Love comments on the podcast. Reviews are terrific. Love getting stars. All of that helps get this podcast out there and you sharing it with your friends. But just know that if you're listening, that I take this work very seriously, and I'm just one person in Pasadena, California. But my hope is that so much about what I can do to make a better impact of the world. And part of that is, if you don't know my background, is that I spent my entire career was in charity fundraising at a very high level, working with the Rockefeller family in New York, working with President Carter in Atlanta and New York. I've met Nelson Mandela. I've been to South Africa, Mozambique. I've been all over the world at World Economic Forum meetings in Buenos Aires and different places. So my work has taken me to Europe and Canada and different places and South Africa. And so in that kind of work, I was privileged to work at a very high level. And so we always thought about problems at on like a very world scale. And so because of that, I always had great pride in that work that I did and got a lot of joy out of it. I keep trying to ask myself, how do I have that kind of impact in the sustainability aspect of reselling? How do I do that? I'm just one person. I'm not part of an organization that's doing this, right? And who are the organizations that are making a difference in the world by addressing these issues? Because those are the organizations that are out there are the platforms like the eBays of the world, the Poshmarks of the world, the Real Reals of the world, the ThreadUps of the world, et cetera. Those are platforms. They're not nonprofits. They're platforms. Then you have the people in the world like the Goodwills of the world, the people who actually acquire the goods and resell them, the Goodwills of the world. But their mission is not to be sustainable. Their mission is to train people on how to have the skills to work, right? And these are very traditional skills. That's what's so interesting about the Goodwill. The skills they're teaching people are super traditional skills: retailing, intake, inventory management, going through merchandising, tagging, selling, sending things to the bins. Like, this is very traditional work skills, but that's their mission. Their mission is not to be sustainable per se, right? But whose mission is that? And so I ask myself, I don't actually know, there's probably some nonprofits out there that it is their mission to be, all sustainable with the world, but not from this side of it. So if you know, let me know. But, I just feel like we are in a position to do something. Because if you so much about this work, yes, the fashion can be amazing, especially when you're dealing with vintage couture. Getting that back out on the red carpet is just wonderful. Yes, it's exciting when you buy something for $1 and sell it for $500 or hundreds of dollars. Yes, the flip is exciting. Yes, it's exciting when you repurpose something and you get it back in working order and you make it come to life again by repairing buttons and fixing holes and depilling it. And it's sort of like when you get your shoes back from the cobbler. There's something really, really satisfying about bringing something back to life, right? There's so many sides of this. And, making money is part of it, but it isn't the only part. And you can never do one without the other, right? The word sustainable is one that I'm so shy to use the word because it's sort of like a given. The heart of what we're doing is the opportunity to literally change the world by helping and continuing to help to be the people who are at the leading edge of ensuring that reselling and putting things back onto the market becomes a mainstay. It's here to stay. I'm pretty sure it is here to stay, but I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. But and all the stats also say that. But how do we become a force for that? A force that's not a platform, that's not a nonprofit, that's a force of people like you and me who are resellers or in the industry, and we're trying to figure out how we can make a difference in the world. And so that's what I think about these days. I think about making a difference. I think about my one store and how to scale it. and I think about the future. And that's where I am. I own 100% of Walker Viden Luxury Consignment. And now what? Which is the title. Jennie Walker, Closet Conversations. And I'm so glad that you were with me tonight. And I hope to have you with me on a future episode.
Whatever you're funny, Peacock's got it exclusively. Bears beats The Office on Peacock. Stream every moment from Dunder Mifflin and explore bonus extras and exclusives. Plus, if you're looking for more classic hits, you can stream every episode of Parks and Recreation, 2.5 Men, and every season of SNL. In the mood for something brand new? Check out Peacock's original comedies, The Amber Ruffin Show, and Saved by the Bell. Whether you're craving a new binge or familiar fave, you can find tons of comedy hits on Peacock. Get started for free at peacocktv.com.
Introducing touch-free payments from PayPal, a safe way for your customers to pay. Simply download the PayPal app and display your own unique QR code for your customers to scan. Whether you're a market seller,
I'll take 2 tomatoes and a cucumber,
poodle pamperer, piano tuner, or plumber, signing up to accept touch-free payments for your business is easy. Touch-free QR code payments. Shop safe with PayPal.